Introducing Korean broadcast content that you won't be able to stop watching. For weary modern souls, Dr. Romantic, the quirky genius doctor of Busan Hospital, prescribes heartwarming tales of humanity. A couple together for 7 years sees their rose-tinted glasses shatter. Can they keep their relationship alive? Discover the raw stories of youth, work, and love. Beyond what social media can show, experience the vibrant Korea through its hidden gems. Mama, the ultimate K-pop festival for global fans. Find your star in a feast of trendy music and electrifying performances. Now, the whole world enjoys it together.
President Lee Jae-myung is in Brussels, the first stop on his 10-day trip to Europe. He's scheduled to sit down for talks with European leaders, including the Belgian Prime Minister and top officials from the European Union. The United States has launched new strikes on Iran after President Donald Trump accused the country of shooting down a U.S. helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. Israel also carried out a wave of air and artillery strikes across southern Lebanon. This comes despite a warning from Iran not to continue attacks on the country, raising concerns about a broader regional escalation. President Lee Jae-myung has touched down in Brussels, the first leg of his 10-day trip to Europe. He will meet with European leaders, including the Belgian Prime Minister and leaders of the European Union. Our Yoon Jung-min is traveling with the president and files his report from Brussels.
The meeting between President Lee Jae-myung and Belgian Prime Minister Bart De Wever and King Philip on Wednesday takes place as the two countries celebrate 125 years of diplomatic ties. Expanding cooperation for small and medium-sized firms is high on the agenda, with Belgium being a key logistics hub in Europe and a biotech stronghold.
We will make sure that our companies actively make inroads into Belgium and lay the foundation for them to further expand across Europe.
There is also a focus on culture and education exchanges, such as expanding Korean studies at Leuven University and Ghent University in Belgium. Later in the day, President Yi will also meet with President of the European Council Antonio Costa and President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, building upon their last meeting at the G7 summit in Canada.
We share similar values with the EU, such as a norms-based multilateral global order, democracy, and market economy. It is a crucial partner for us to upgrade ourselves into a diplomatic powerhouse as a member of G7+.
The leaders are expected to discuss increasing trade and economic growth amid growing global protectionism. The 27-member European bloc is South Korea's third-largest trading partner. They will also discuss bolstering security cooperation and joint efforts to tackle transnational crimes such as drugs and terrorism. In 2024, the two sides adopted a security and defense partnership. The leaders are also expected to address regional security on the Korean Peninsula and the Middle East and look to cooperate on energy and supply chains.
It is President Yi's first trip to the bloc since taking office, signaling his administration's fully fledged diplomacy with Europe amid complicated geopolitics. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News, Brussels.
And staying in Brussels, President Lee Jae-myung has met members of the Korean community in Belgium and vowed to make a better Korea. During the meeting on Tuesday, he said the martial law declaration by his predecessor in 2024 and consequential changes must have concerned many overseas Koreans, but the country is recovering in a short period of time. He promised to make Korea a country that overseas Koreans can take pride in. On the economic front, Korea's real GDP for the first quarter of this year has been adjusted upward. Despite external uncertainties, Korea's chip exports have been doing even better than the Bank of Korea had predicted. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
Korea's real gross domestic product expanded 1.8% in the first quarter of 2026 compared to the previous quarter. According to the Bank of Korea's preliminary data released Tuesday, this represents a 0.1 percentage point upward revision from the central bank's advanced estimate. On a yearly basis, the economy grew 3.8%. The stronger reading was supported by final data indicating faster than expected progress in display and semiconductor investments. Overall facility investments surged 6.6%, while private consumption increased 0.6%. Exports advanced 5.9% on quarter, heavily backed by global demand for IT products like semiconductors.
The 0.1 percentage point upward revision to the first quarter real GDP will act to raise the annual growth rate by 0.1 percentage point for the entire year.
The most notable shift during the first quarter was the unprecedented surge in national income. Nominal GDP jumped 10.5% on quarter, marking the highest level since the first quarter of 1976. Real gross national income rose a record 9.2% from the previous quarter, sharply outpacing actual production growth. The central bank added that the GDP deflator rose 12.9% year-on-year due to the surge in semiconductor export prices, which significantly improved corporate profitability. The central bank attributed the unusual income surge directly to these improved terms of trade.
As the price of our key export, semiconductors, has surpassed the price increases of energy like crude oil, our main import, an unusual situation has occurred where GDI has significantly outpaced GDP.
If this corporate performance and nominal growth trend continues, Bank of Korea officials project the nation's per capita gross national income could reach its next major milestone much earlier than the previously anticipated target of 2028. For 2025, per capita GNI stood at $36,963. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Samsung Electronics ranked first among the world's top chipmakers in facilities and R&D spending last year, with investment totaling nearly 90 trillion Korean won, or approximately $59 billion. According to Corporate Tracker CEO Score on Wednesday, Samsung's spending in 2025 on facility investment was approximately $34.2 billion, on top of more than $24.3 billion spent on research and development. The figure was almost $13.2 billion more than the spending by Taiwan's TSMC, which ranked second. U.S. chipmaker Intel ranked third on the list, while SK hynix came in fourth. The report found Samsung's investment has continued to grow over the past 5 years, rising more than $10.5 billion between 2021 and 2024. Tensions are escalating in the Middle East once again as the United States carries out military strikes against Iran following the downing of an American helicopter. Our Bunyeon has the details.
The United States has launched military strikes against Iran in response to the downing of a U.S. Army helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz, marking a major escalation in tensions between Washington and Tehran. According to U.S. Central Command, American forces began strikes at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, describing the operation as a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. Iran was quick to respond, with its foreign minister taking to social media to warn that Tehran would leave no attack or threat unanswered, and that U.S. forces should leave the region. Iranian media reported that explosions were heard in the strait shortly after CENTCOM's announcement, with state media later reporting that the strikes appeared to be winding down. The strikes follow the downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter near the coast of Oman on Monday, from which the 2 crew members were rescued unharmed. US President Donald Trump accused Iran of bringing down the aircraft and said the United States must of necessity respond to this attack. According to the Associated Press, a US official said investigators believe the helicopter collided with an Iranian drone, although it remains unclear whether the collision was intentional. Iran, for its part, neither confirmed nor denied any involvement, with a semi-official Mir news agency stopping short of claiming responsibility. The latest developments cast doubt on Trump's claims that an Israel-Iran peace deal was close after he had warned both sides that weekend clashes were jeopardizing negotiations between Washington and Tehran. He had told reporters that a peace deal was in its final stages and that the Strait of Hormuz would reopen immediately after an agreement was reached. 문혜련, Arirang News.
Israel has launched fresh strikes across southern Lebanon despite Iran's warning to halt attacks, raising fears of renewed regional escalation. The violence comes as efforts continue to preserve a fragile ceasefire and advance broader negotiations aimed at ending the conflict involving Israel, Iran, and its regional allies. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
Israel has carried out a new wave of air and artillery strikes across southern Lebanon, despite warnings from Iran to halt attacks. Lebanon's health ministry said at least 13 people were killed on Tuesday, including 2 in a pre-dawn drone strike near the southern city of Nabateh. The Israeli military also issued fresh evacuation orders for the coastal city of Tyre, instructing residents to move north of the Zerani River. For the first time, the warning included the city's Christian quarter, where Israel claims Hezbollah fighters had recently been operating. The latest strikes come just days after Israel and Iran exchanged attacks following Israeli strikes on Beirut, targeting the Iran-backed Hezbollah group. Although Israel and Iran paused hostilities on Monday, Tehran warned it could resume attacks if Israeli operations in Lebanon continue. Israel, however, has vowed to press ahead with its campaign against Hezbollah, raising concerns about a broader regional escalation and complicating U.S. President Donald Trump's efforts to broker a wider deal aimed at ending the conflict involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. Lebanon became directly involved in the war in March when Hezbollah launched rockets into Israel, prompting a large-scale Israeli air campaign and ground operations in southern Lebanon. According to Lebanon's health ministry, more than 3,600 people have been killed since the conflict intensified. Israeli authorities say 30 soldiers and 4 civilians have also died in cross-border fighting. The United Nations estimates that nearly 1 million people in Lebanon remain displaced and about 1.4 million need humanitarian assistance. A U.S.-brokered ceasefire reached in April has failed to stop the violence, with clashes continuing despite the agreement. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has thanked North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for the hospitality shown during his 2-day state visit to Pyongyang, saying ties between the two countries have entered a new historical journey. According to the Korean Central News Agency on Wednesday, Xi said in a message sent after returning to China that talks with Kim produced important agreements and added new momentum to bilateral relations. He also reaffirmed both countries' commitment to strengthening traditional ties and promoting regional peace and stability. Meanwhile, Kim's daughter Chue did not appear at any official events during Xi's visit, despite expectations that Pyongyang could use the visit to send signals about the future leadership of the regime. New Korean series Teach You a Lesson became the most watched non-English show on Netflix last week. According to Netflix on Wednesday, the series topped the platform's non-English TV chart after its release last week, recording 6.4 million views. It also made the top 10 in 48 countries, including the Philippines, Argentina, and Egypt. The series features the fictional Office for the Protection of Teachers' Rights, an agency created to address conflicts involving teachers, students, and parents in schools. Also on the non-English TV chart, 4 other Korean titles, including My Royal Nemesis and The Wonder Fools, ranked in the top 10. To mark the 481st anniversary of Admiral Yi Sun-sin's birth, events were held across the country to honor the naval commander's leadership and devotion to the people, while also highlighting the importance of the seas he once defended. Our Tae-young has more.
Admiral Yi Sun-sin, a national hero, sacrificed his life for his country at the Battle of Doryang on December 16, 1598. At the Memorial Park in Namhae, Gyeongsangnam-do Province, long lines of people gathered to admire his patriotism and love for the people.
I am so grateful that we had someone like Admiral Yi Sun-sin. We can live in this beautiful land.
At Hyunchungsa Shrine in Asan, Chungcheongnam-do Province, a symposium was held to honor the spirit of Admiral Yi, who protected the nation by securing 22 consecutive victories through meticulous preparation. Notably, this year's events also carried a message regarding the protection of the ocean, which is currently suffering from environmental pollution.
His last words were, "Do not announce my death." Now, we are making his death known so that he can be reborn with a modern mission, leading the way to solve environmental issues.
Alongside keynote speeches and discussions, there were commemorative performances featuring actors from the movie Myeongyang. These diverse commemorative events provided a great opportunity to cultivate historical awareness and promote environmental values through the practice of maritime conservation. 차윤경, Arirang News.
And in Korea's southern port city of Busan, the city's former mayoral residence, once a symbol of authority, long closed off to the public, has been reborn as a public space. It's attracted more than 500,000 visitors in just over a year. Our Kim So-young reports.
A quiet path leads up to a wide garden and open buildings. Visitors chat, take in ocean views, and capture the moment on camera. As the sun grows stronger, some pause in the shade, enjoying a quiet cup of tea. Inside, the space offers exhibitions, reading areas, rest zones, and educational programs, all brought together at Domoheon.
I came here because I heard it was a famous filming location, but it also has a beautiful garden, an exhibition hall, and a cafe. It's a great place.
Domoheon officially opened to the public in September 2024, after the former mayoral residence was transformed into a multi-purpose space for citizens. Since then, it has continued to attract both residents and tourists, recently surpassing 500,000 cumulative visitors. At the heart of its popularity is its founding theme: walk, stay, and remember. Built in 1984 and once reserved for top officials, the once restricted compound has now become an open, welcoming place for the public. Kim So-young, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. In the UK, hundreds of protesters took to the streets of Belfast on Tuesday, setting vehicles on fire following a knife attack the day before. Masked youth set fire to vehicles, including a bus, and broke windows of homes across the city as police deployed armored vehicles. This followed a knife attack on Monday, over which the police have charged a Sudanese man with attempted murder. The victim of the knife attack was seriously injured with slash wounds to his face and back. Members of the public were credited by police with saving his life before officers arrived. The knife attack suspect had been granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom in 2023 after claiming asylum. Northern Ireland's political leaders jointly condemned the horrific attack and the riots and have called for calm. In Kenya, police shot dead a protester on Tuesday as hundreds demonstrated against a U.S.-backed Ebola quarantine facility. Eyewitnesses said the man died from a gunshot wound to the head. 2 people were also killed at the same site last week. A high court judge has twice ordered the government to halt construction at the military base, but U.S. aircraft have continued flying in staff and equipment. The Kenya Human Rights Commission said on Tuesday that hooded police fired live bullets and arrested 19 protesters. The 50-bed facility near Nanyuki is intended for Americans exposed to Ebola who are still asymptomatic. The Democratic Republic of Congo's confirmed Ebola cases rose to 598 on Tuesday, with 115 deaths in one of the largest outbreaks ever recorded. NASA named 4 astronauts on Tuesday for its Artemis 3 mission, a spacecraft docking demonstration next year that will test moon landers from SpaceX and Blue Origin for the first time in space. U.S. astronauts Andre Douglas, Frank Rubio, and Randy Bresnik, along with European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano, will launch late next year aboard NASA's Orion capsule. The mission will not approach the moon, but will test docking with SpaceX's Starship and Blue Origin's Blue Moon landers in low Earth orbit before a future crewed lunar landing. In Japan, a bear has been captured after a multi-day hunt that shut all 94 schools in the Japanese city of Utsunomiya and kept residents indoors for days. The black bear, weighing around 100 kilograms, was first seen on Saturday. It was shot with a tranquilizer gun in a residential area and taken away in a cage on Tuesday. But authorities are keeping schools closed on Wednesday over reports of a possible second bear in the area. Bear attacks have reached record levels in Japan, with 238 casualties, including 13 deaths recorded between April 2025 and April 2026. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Unlike sunny skies we have been seeing in the capital region, it's going to be rather cloudy with some rain. And with that rain system affecting central regions, the heat will ease, but southern regions will remain much warmer, with highs hovering around 30 degrees Celsius this afternoon. And about the rain, most of the central areas will see 5 to 30 millimeters of showers through the evening. The southern parts of Korea will be under plenty of sunshine with strong UV rays. UV levels will be very high in the afternoon, while the northern parts of Jeju Island will see the highest level. So sun safety is a must for those in southern areas. And this afternoon, Seoul gets up to 25 degrees Celsius. Daegu, Gyeongju make it to 29 degrees, while air quality will be normal to good nationwide all day today. Tomorrow afternoon, scattered showers are expected across the central regions. Then daytime temperatures will remain below 30 degrees with no major heat expected through the rest of the week.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.